Hey guys, what's up? This is Richie Satori. I'm here with Terry Stokes Jr. We're getting ready for the third annual Stand Up for Recovery Comedy Fest. It is happening. It's going to be lit. We can't wait. How you doing, Terry? You getting excited?
It's going to be lit. I like that word. I haven't used that term in a long time.
I think it
Hey,
stands for
Richie,
the
thanks for having
literature.
me, man. I am super excited for Sunday, man. Going to be lit.
Man, I don't think people know what they're in for. I don't know if I know what I'm in for, but I know what you do is it's very unique. It's something people will certainly remember, and they're not gonna, it's probably something they have not seen before. So can you tell us a little bit about like an elevator pitch for when
Ab-
someone's like, what do you sit next to somebody on the plane and they're like, so what do you do?
Absolutely. So we take volunteers out of the audience and they become the stars of the show. And I don't even know what's going to happen when a show starts. I've got routines that I do, but oftentimes the funniest thing in the show can be a routine that I write about something on somebody's t-shirt or their belt buckle or their hat. So a lot of it is just improv based upon the people on stage. Um, and I would say the difference in my show compared to other hypnosis shows is, and this is my opinion of what I've seen the way other people act, is most hypnotists want to show you how great they are and all this power they have over you. And I kind of feel take an opposite approach. I want my show to not only be hilarious and entertaining, but I want it to show you how powerful you are by unlocking the power of your subconscious mind. So the idea with the show is, man, if all those crazy, funny things can happen, if that man can give a baby, if that guy can think he's Dolly Parton, um, what can it do in my life?
I like that.
How can it help me stop smoking? How can it help me lose weight? How can it help my sales? How can it? Because everything is truly in our head. And
Wow.
so we deliver a message kind of like we do with recovery. We're delivering a positive message with humor so that it's remembered.
Nice. Yeah, it makes me think of I think now substance use disorder is officially considered in the mental health challenge sphere, which I think is great because personally, and so much stuff I hear at mutual aid support groups, let's call them, to me have to do with mental the mentals. The famous sign that says think but it's upside down. you
Right, right.
um that I don't have a drinking problem, I have a thinking problem.
Well, and just to take it, everything is in our head. So I'm out. I'm in South Carolina today, and it was rainy and gloomy and dreary, and I had a bunch of stuff to do, and I was walking around all dreary and gloomy, and I thought, you know what? It's going to rain anyway, whether I'm pissed off about it or not.
Right.
So at this point, I'm making a decision based on the weather to have a shitty day, or I can have a great day. But
Right.
I was letting all these external circumstances dictate the kind of day I was going to have.
I love it. And I think that speaks to the power of comedy for sure. It can be like a
Right.
light switch. It's like meditation. I don't remember the circumstances and they're probably not important. It was life happening on life's terms. And I was just starting to feel like in the shit. And I was just able to laugh at myself in that moment. Like, who am I to think that I'm entitled to have this perfect, seamless life where nothing's ever going to go wrong and everything's always going to go my way. Like and just able to laugh, and that just kind of like released all the funk that I was kind of like about to accumulate in this pity party, you know so yeah, no, I believe that laughter is such an amazing tool of resilience that we all have. It doesn't mean you aspire to be, you know at the Apollo on stage, but just in your daily life to be able to laugh at yourself. And I think, yeah, it's healing. I think in order to laugh at yourself, you have to be able to love yourself a little bit. So there's a forgiveness component. You have to be honest with yourself, so there's that honesty piece. A lot of principles of recovery really intersect with humor, and I think that's
Right.
exciting. It's evidence based. There's a lot of studies out there, just, I mean, balancing the chemicals in your your brain, that homeostasis piece is so cool. And I was gonna say, you know, you mentioned like the spontaneity of your show, and I think it's perfect. We're gonna be at Dad's Garage Theater, which is the preeminent improv theater of the Southeast. So that's where they had
Awesome.
auditions for Saturday Night Live this past season for the Southeast. And so it's got a lot of good mojo in there. It's a beautiful theater. So real quick, I want to let people know if they want to get their tickets in advance, they can go to dadsgarage.com, spelled in regular English, no spaces, dads, plural, dadsgarage.com, and get your tickets. You can also sign up for a couple other things that are going to be happening leading up to the show. Since this is our annual event, this is the fest piece. We're going to have a comedy crash course from 4 to 5 p.m. You can sign up. It's pay what you want. So go ahead and do that. Get your tickets in advance and save half price. The bus is going to be there around 5 o'clock. So the big Georgia Recovers bus will be there. We can get pictures and sign the bus. And there's going to be a policy panel. You'll be able to hear Terry Stokes Jr., myself, the executive director of Dad's Garage Theater, our headliner, William Childress, possibly the executive director of the Georgia Council for Recovery, might be on that panel, and another surprise guest moderated by Jeff Breedlove. So you don't want to miss that. That is free. You can just show up for that. But if you do the workshop, you will be guaranteed a spot at the policy panel. And the doors open at 6:30 for the show. Starts at 7. So definitely go ahead and get your tickets now. And you know, they're just $10. So we really just want to pack the place out and have a good time. Show people that not only is recovery real, but it can also be real fun.
We are not a glum lot.
We are not. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about, I know that mindfulness practices is big for you, and you know, anything you could speak to that, how it may pertain to recovery and perhaps comedy.
Absolutely. First, I want to jump back just a second because a couple things popped into my head. I think a quote or a prayer that I had shared with you that I love, that kind of fit in with what we were just talking about is God, thank you for letting me laugh again, but don't let me forget why I cried.
Wow.
And you know, that's when you were talking there, it just hit me, that moment when the tears stop and the laughter comes, I think is where the change, where the recovery starts. I really do.
Wow.
I mean, because you'll see people sitting in meetings at conventions and all of a sudden the smile and the little, you know, the spark comes from the laugh, you know, that you get that little glimmer in the eye shortly after the chuckle. You know, I think we're onto something big here where once we can laugh, if we can laugh at the things we used to cry about, that's a whole different world. You know, huge. It's a whole different world. But onto the meditation and mindfulness. So it fit, you know, as a hypnotist, you can put a bunch of different names on that state that you get into. But it's the same kind of calm, trying to get in the quiet, the space, the space between our thoughts, where everything is created, including our own bliss. You know, it's that silence. It's the space in between. They call it, it's like the space between the bars that holds the tiger, the silence between the notes that makes the music. That's what we're trying to get to, where God is. Wow.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And back to the thinking piece, I think that the Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu once said, as soon as you have a thought, immediately laugh at it. He may have also said like, that it's impossible to think while you're laughing. Someone said that. I didn't think of that, but I was meditating. I didn't think anything. No, but no, I think that is cool, and I think it's we support the mental health component of this. You know, recovery is a broad term. I mean, you could also call this stand up for wellness. You know, so. You know, allies are welcome, sober curious welcome, multiple pathways are welcome, you know, and you know, with the mental health piece, I think that you know, it's important, you know, like if we can laugh about it, we can talk about it. There's a lot of stigma around mental illness, substance use disorders, and you know, part of this for us, you know, we choose to recover out loud and respect anybody else's anonymity, but just to show people that, you know, that it's possible. And I think the hope piece comes in just by the, you know, virtue of us standing on stage, and it's like, you know, being able to laugh at the things that once made us cry, like you said. And so hopefully that can give other people a shot of hope as well.
That to me, that hope is just so important, because you know as well as I do, when that darkness comes, you know, it just, you know, it doesn't, you don't see those little pinpricks of light, you know, the hope, and you just get so lost in this darkness, and you think it's going to be forever, and you think it's never going to end. You don't see a point anymore because it's never going to end. And I feel like sometimes that laughter can be some of those little holes where that light gets through. And I see a little bit of hope there.
I love that. I was talking to the executive director of Dad's Garage today, and we were chatting about some intersections of humor and recovery. And I mentioned that, you know, as you know, I sort of say it half tongue in cheek, but also earnestly at the same time, that, you know, if you're struggling with a higher power concept, you know, I would argue that laughter is a power greater than ourselves. It is, you know, it's not, it's involuntary, you know, just kind of happens. And I personally like to look at laughter as a gift from my higher power, you know.
So it's so funny that you said that, Richie. So when I first was getting sober, I needed a visual of a God, and I was a big George Burns fan, and I loved the movie Oh God. So in the very beginning, you know, we get to choose our own concept of God, a power greater than ourselves, and we get to create whatever it's going to be, as long, you know, as long as it works for us. So in the very beginning, and it changes and continues to evolve, but in the very beginning, George Burns as the Oh God character in the movie was my higher power. That's the beauty of this program, is I can, you know, I just got to come to the realization that I cannot do this alone, you know, and I've got to have some help of a power greater than myself. And however I visualize that to be a God that looks like Jesus, or a God that looks like George Burns, or a God that looks like Buddha, or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to get sober. I just need a power greater than myself, and
right,
and more than me to do it, you know.
Right, yeah. And I love that. You know, it's become popular, almost a definition of, I've heard that the opposite of addiction is connection. And the great musical comedian Victor Borg once said that the shortest distance between two people is laughter. And
Love that.
so yeah, just that connection through laughter, you know, in the group, you know, coming together. And you know, I meet some people promoting the events and stuff, and they're like, man, I haven't been to a comedy show since I got sober. And so you know, they suggest you bring a sober buddy if you're going to an event where there might be, you know, whatever there. And so here you'll have a whole room full of
I'm full of sober buddies. Exactly.
yeah. So, and you know, you know, when we do events, we like to take over the space. We want to, you know, everybody's welcome. You know, no one's going to be pushing any kind of drink sales in your face. But yeah, so you can give Terry a follow. I could tag you on your social media, something, build up his Instagram. What's your Instagram? Is it?
You know more about it than I do, Richie. You found out that I had one. I think like a girl that worked for me as an assistant years ago started that.
Oh, okay.
And then when she left, it has never been touched again. But I'll look into it tonight, because I've been thinking I need to get more active on social, and not to keep using the U.S. mail and postcards to do stuff.
Oh man, I was talking to a friend yesterday I hadn't seen in ages, and she was talking about wanting to publish a coffee table book of emails that she never sent, because you know, I like the idea of just waiting a day before you respond. Like you say, that space between, you know, can be very powerful. And so I I have an email that, but then my procrastination kicks in and I just never send it, which is maybe for the better. But I
Right.
need to get better and putting some clips out. But this is fun. I can do this all
That was
day.
the best justification for procrastination I have ever heard.
Right. Yeah. I'm being mindful. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how we're doing on time. I know we're going to try to get this out to y'all. Let's see. Since this isn't live, we did try to go live, to our credit. We're just
Several times.
but if there were any questions, what would they be? I think they make them up on those radio shows anyway.
Right.
Question for
I mean, the
yourself,
question
Terry?
I always get is about hypnosis. And you know everything that's going on. You're just so relaxed, you don't care. You're not going to black out. I'm not going to do anything to embarrass you much. You know, I mean, we're gonna have some fun, and it's gonna get goofy and silly, but you're not gonna have to change your name and, you know, move out of your hometown after the show.
Right on. And what I'm interested in hearing more about is, I guess, your connection to comedy. If I could be more, I guess, specific. I know you mentioned Burns was an early influence. I guess maybe you could share how humor has helped you get through a tough situation in the past, like how you've been able to use that tool of humor.
Sure. Well, I in my career is in drinking, I ended up as a guest at the state of Tennessee Department of Corrections and Resort Facility in Lafayette, Tennessee for 26 months. And I started doing shows in the pod.
Wow.
And, you know, I made, like you quoted Victor Borge, I made that connection with people I never would have connected with. You know, people I would have hid in my cell and my bunk from were my, I don't want to say friends, but, you know, there was no conflict because I brought that humor to the pod and lightened the place. And I think it changed. It changed my stay there. And I hope it made it better for others.
That's awesome. Have you ever performed at a jail besides then, like since you've been out?
I have gone back to speak at jails and prisons to share my story, but I have not done a show.
Right on. I think it's something I'm trying. I just was at the Georgia School of Addiction Studies and met a lot of people with the juvenile justice system. And it got me thinking, you know, with the sort of workshop series, trying to develop like that, what a great place to bring a workshop to,
Right.
you know, to, yeah. So that's cool that you have that lived experience to draw on. And I'm sure a lot of people can connect with that, you know. And so yeah, let's let them know.
It's if you have not been there, it's not a fun place to be. And
Right.
you know, I think that humor that I was able to bring through the show brought a little light into that darkness.
Yeah, I would say jail is overrated. That's awesome, man.
Bad Yelp review.
What's that?
I'm giving it a bad Yelp review.
Yeah. Oh my God, can you imagine the Yelp reviews for the state pen? Oh my God. I had to send my meal back numerous times.
The bologna was not prepared to my satisfaction.
The cutlery was subpar. Yeah, they seem to always miss the knife. All right, anyway, we want to recap real quick and let people know it's going to be this Sunday, September 29th. It's going to be in Atlanta, Edgewood to be specific, but we are going to have security in the parking lot, huge free parking lot. It's going to be a beautiful day. The storm is going to pass Friday. I'm sticking to it. So tickets are $10 in advance, $2 surcharge, tax and fees included in that. Or you could just get tickets at the door if you want, but it's going to cost more at the door. So we encourage you to get your tickets early. When you are at that link at dadsgarage.com, you can sign up for the comedy workshop from 4 to 5. That's pay what you want. So I believe you could even put $1 in there So that is subject to availability, but so more of a reason to go ahead and get your tickets early. There is a free policy panel from 5:15 to 6:15, which is part of the Georgia Recovers bus tour policy stop. We are one of 16 stops where they explore everything from religion and recovery to humor and recovery. So this helps gather information. It's a community talk back, so your voices can be heard, and it could help create funding opportunities for stuff like this in the future, and spread it out to more rural areas, which we're hoping to do next year. We are going to do it. We won't speculate. But yeah, so Sunday, September 29th, 7 o'clock is the showtime. Doors open at 6:30. It's a lot of fun. It's a great neighborhood, great restaurants, free parking. Come sign the bus. Terry is gonna knock your socks off, and you
Gonna
don't.
be lit.
It's gonna be lit. I'll be hosting. We have special guests coming in. Our featured comedian William Childress is going to be awesome. And yeah, we want to thank some community partners that have helped support us in one way or another over the years. Shout out to UE Entertainment News, helping get the word out about events. They've always been cool about sharing stuff we're doing. Unfortunately, Ricky Davis won't be in town. He's still on tour right now. We want to give Ricky a shout out. Want to give a huge shout out to the P-Man Foundation. P-Man Foundation has been really instrumental in helping support sober-friendly activities. They helped us out tremendously the first half of the year, and are throwing some support to our open mic series, which you can stay tuned for. Thinking about calling it Room Recovery Oriented Open Mic, or the parking lot.
I like the parking lot.
Like the parking lot, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Also want to thank the Georgia Council for Recovery for all they do. They'll be moderating the policy panel, and they're just great people. We love them. Shout out to Larissa, Brian, Jeff, all the recovery rock stars there at the Georgia Council for Recovery. Big shout out to Georgia Overdose Prevention, who have helped saved over 11,000 lives with their initiative, and the Don't Run, Call 911 amnesty law, which is in there, just celebrated 10 years. So happy anniversary to that. They've trained me as a trainer, so anybody that comes to the show will get a quick free training on how to reverse an overdose. Plus, we have free harm reduction supplies, including NALOXONE. So shout out to them. You'll probably be able to meet at least one of their volunteers there. Shout out to Positive Impact Health Centers. They do a lot for the LGBTQIA plus mental health / addiction recovery communities, and believe they're maybe the largest, at least in the Southeast. Shout out to Inclusive Recovery in Athens. Big shout out to them for seeing what we do and believing in it. And we've have a show on the tentatively on the books for a while. They've changed, had a change in board members, and so we'll stay tuned for that. We're looking forward to doing some stuff in Athens next year. And shout out to all the Laughs Comedy Awards. We are bumping heads with them as far as scheduling, but go check them out and then come check us out. Their festival is going to be happening this weekend as well. But we see you. We appreciate you, and we would also like to thank anybody that we may have forgot. But yeah. Go to standup4recovery.com. You can learn more. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at standup4recovery. You can get your tickets through that link there. Links in the bios, or go to dadsgarage.com. Terry Stokes Jr., you're a legend, man. I'm so honored and excited to be able to work and play this weekend, and to have you as our headliner for the 3rd annual Stand Up for Recovery Comedy Fest. It means a lot to have you, and I look forward to working with you more in the future.
Yes, sir, Richie. Super excited for Sunday and all the big stuff to come. I love that we get to go out and do what we love to do, and it helps people while we do it. It's a pretty blessed life we live.
That is true. That is true. All right. Well, we hope you all can make it out. We hope to see you there. If you know someone that might enjoy it, bring them along, and have a beautiful day. Y'all stay safe out there. We're gonna have a good weather Sunday, so come celebrate. We'll see you soon.
See you Sunday.
Cool.